Hey Exiles, welcome to another episode of the Still Sane Pod. I am Talkative, your host, and I am here today with the 6 out of 6 winner of the Path of Exile 2 racing event so far, Angormus. Angormus, man, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing pretty great. How are you doing today?
Hectic night. Was supposed to be live today, ended up not had some family stuff ongoing, but in the past, sitting here now, and I'm ready to talk to you about one of the things that I am most excited for the year, dude. It's ExileCon. They're gonna be having a bunch of stuff there related to Path of Exile, and one of those things is a big race event on the main stage of ExileCon, dude. And you are one of the goats of Path of Exile 2 racing right now. Are you planning to hopefully compete in that main event?
I mean, I'm definitely hoping I can at least qualify for the final event. It'd be really cool to go and get in that way. And I definitely want to see the Path of Exile 1 race in person.
Oh yeah. But did you before we get into PoE2, did you ever do any PoE1 racing, or are you just more of a PoE2 guy?
So I mean, I got into Path of Exile 1 in January of 2013 when I was like 13 or so. And I did a bunch of like the early races. So like race season 1 when Creparian was still playing a lot of those. And I won like a small amount of demigods from that time frame, like a 1 week race here, like an endless ledge here, those sorts of things.
You are one of the OGs then. They used to give away what, demigods and alternate art for unique items too for winning the races.
Yeah. If you hit certain thresholds, like level threshold, experience thresholds, or like ranking threshold, you'd like accumulate points over a race season, and you would at certain like point thresholds gain alternate art uniques, and then it was always like 1,000 points for like the most rare one.
Oh, that's actually cool. So in that system, did it give normal players a chance if they kept at it like all throughout the season and they were fast enough? Because it wasn't being the fastest, it was just hitting a certain window.
Yeah, you'd probably be able to get like some of the like lower like 200 to 300 range, even just like casually playing. A lot of those like there were just races like almost every day and like multiple races a day at that point. So they were just running endless amount. Like it was like 1 hour race, 2 hour race, 3 hour party race, just all different hours of the day. So like it was good for every time zone too.
Right. So they didn't make it into a huge spectacle that it is with like Path of Exile 2. It was more so just like, hey, this is just a part of, it's almost like a game mode essentially for certain parts or times of the league. That's interesting.
Yeah, going on at the first it was like that, yeah.
Yeah. Wonder why they stopped doing that. I wonder, was it too much work? Like the juice wasn't worth the squeeze, or they were going to that?
I think at some point participation was probably like lower than they would have liked, and they like stopped investing so much into it. From what I remember, that was a long time ago.
Okay. Well, Path of Exile 2, obviously, like I said, it's kind of an event, all these races. I remember the first one, what was it, March of last year? Almost a year ago now?
Yeah, it was March 1st.
March 1st. I vividly remember I was like taking my family to some event with bounce houses and everything, and I got home right around when the race started, and I had no idea what to expect, dude. So watching that whole event was so surreal, seeing how quick people got through this campaign, because back in point 1, I think I was like a 33-hour campaign, man. And then what was your first time all the way back then, like a year ago?
Oh, I got a 228 in the first race, and I was first by like 40 minutes, and it was Alex Publord who was second that race.
Okay, so if you can go into the detail, what was going on there? Were you the only guy practicing?
I think back then, like prior to the races being announced, I had like gotten I was in like a sort of unique situation where I had gotten a hernia repair surgery, so I couldn't really do anything for like a month except like game. And that's like Path of Exile 2 was out. I wasn't really enjoying the end game too much. So instead of like, building out towers, I just started doing like campaign speedruns, like a lot of focus on Act 1. And then like I'd branched out to Act 3 like probably 2 weeks before they announced the race cycle. So it's like I was just already in like a good practice spot prior to the races actually happening.
I remember right around that time, I think it was maybe January, midway through January, one of my friends, we have a little Discord server where because a lot of my friends got into PoE2 right around launch. One of my friends, super into the game. I remember him linking me one of your just random video. It had like like 1,000 views, dude. Just like speed run warrior, act 1 through 3, 100%, whatever. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I recognized your name once you were, winning that first race event. And then it wasn't just the first one, it was the first, the second, the third. I mean, how did that feel dominating the scene for especially that first cycle? Where I
It,
know you said 40
yeah.
minutes, the first one. The other ones were pretty sizable too, even though people started practicing after that first one a
Yeah.
little more.
It was like the second race, it was like a 7-minute lead on second. And then the third one, I'd gotten my time all the way down to like a 2:14 or so in the race. And then it was like over a 15-minute gap, just barely. I knew at the time, like in practice, like at that point in time, Alex Publord was only like a couple minutes behind on average.
Yeah.
So
And
like I felt like it was a bit closer than like the race cycle had like shown at that point.
right. And then was it the very next one where it was like a nail biter?
Oh
What
no, that was
which one was that?
season 2 race 2 was
See,
the race against Jose,
oh my god.
the
I
mystery
remember
player.
that was a crazy one. I remember like sitting in at the island like saying, "Oh my gosh, you need to come here. Like this is crazy. This is so close to my wife." Are you paying attention to the other racers in that moment? Like are you completely zoned in, cuz I know sometimes I see people checking the ladders and looking like at XP and everything. Do you do that a ton or
Um,
just pure
like
focus?
I'll look like you obviously you notice like name and lights always,
Yeah.
so that's like a good indicator for like when someone's going. The only thing I noticed in that race particularly like was the name and lights, and then also the fact that he was doing the level 23 build that I didn't want to play at the time. Um, but like I noticed that and I was just like I figured it. I've always been like just to play my own sort of race guy because like end of the day like I've done the prep for my race. I can't like adjust. I felt like at the time like it would have been really bad for me to like try to adjust on the fly and
Mhm.
go at the same moment. Like I just needed to play out my own race and it ended up working out.
Yeah, because correct me if I'm wrong, but in a lot of these racing environments, you have a strat that you've practiced and you basically need to stick to it and only make those minor alterations if like RNG is in your favor, not in your favor. But like your plan, it's like step A to step Z, you just execute it essentially and try not to deviate too much from that plan, right?
Yeah, I had a plan in place, and with the prep I had done, I was not ready to do a level
Yeah.
23 run at that time. Like later that night, I did like a 136 on the level 23 strat, but like the race time that night was like a 149 for that race
Insane. Absolutely insane.
for
Okay.
Doriani.
Okay, so yeah, so that's right. I want to put that into perspective for people who are listening now. We're talking about the initial races were acts 1 through 3. So killing Gianor, Damonra, and then Doriani. And you got it down. What did you just say? 136 was your record?
No, that I mean that was the second run I did at level 23. I think
Yeah.
like my best time that patch was like a 132.
132. Okay. So you've played the campaign an absolute ton, man. So racing aside for just a moment, I'd love to pick your brain about one of the biggest critiques of PoE2. One, the campaign is too long. Okay. What as a speed racer, what are your thoughts? Try obviously using your opinion to influence your answer, but like what are what are your thoughts on the length of the PoE2 campaign right now?
I mean, so like it is a bit longer than like PoE1 by like
Mhm.
probably I'd say like 50% longer than like the PoE1 campaign right now. And most of it probably has to do with our lack of like access to movement skills the same
Mhm.
way you have them in PoE1, and then the lack of like a crafting bench. which to like consistently reach like a certain level of power, or like vendor recipes for like weapons. So like you always have like a baseline character power, I would say.
Do you do you
It
do you think it's in like a good place? I find myself as like kind of a campaign enjoyer, but I don't repeat it nearly as many times. As like obviously you've ran it a lot. Some people play multiple characters. So from your perspective, do you think it's in a good place being longer than PoE1 due to the reasons you just outlined, right?
I
Same.
mean like I don't really have a problem with length. I have
Yeah.
a it's just like not having this like when I'm playing PoE1, I feel like in PoE1 by the time I hit level 4, there's more things happening on my screen than there is at like any point in PoE2 right now. Like
Interesting.
I feel like I'm pressing more buttons, worrying about like more aspects of the run. Like when I play PoE2 at level 4, it's it's I'm WASDing and sprinting, and then I have a 2 button combo, and that's about it.
I was gonna say, is this purely on the speed running aspect? Or do you think when you're playing the base game, just chilling? I don't know. Do you do that? Do you still chill and
Yeah.
play?
I would like on league starts, I'll play like hardcore SSF run or
Oh, there you go.
whatever.
Do you feel that's kind of the same vibes there between PoE1 and PoE2, or do you just think like the speedrunning aspect of PoE1? Like I remember watching like I'm Exile or Ty. Like there's so much happening on screen like at
Yeah.
all times pretty much. I guess that is kind of true with PoE2. Now that I'm thinking about like the races, they are very basic. It's sprinting, 2 button combo, sprinting,
Yeah.
2 button combo. So do you
Like
go for it?
I mean I've always been like a PoE1 like enjoyer. So
Yeah,
I enjoy like playing a PoE1 a bit more than PoE2. It's just like I happen to be a lot faster at PoE2 compared to other people. Like if I tried to compete in the PoE1 races, I could like practice for a year and probably not touch like the top 4 guys at all.
why do you think that is? Like, I know you said there's a lot more actions taking place in PoE1, but like, what puts it a level above, like in terms of difficulty compared to PoE2?
It's the APM required. The like intimate knowledge of layouts is very important because there you can learn the base layouts in Path of Exile 1, but then you have to like there's a lot of like Einhar can mess with layouts when he spawns in like fixed seed layout races. Um, there's the Vol side areas change how a base layout generates, so you have to learn those variations too, because GGG loves to throw those into the ExileCon races, and there's like the actions that are happening, and then on top of that, like it's very difficult to describe, but like shield charging very quickly without hitting obstacles like rocks or terrain, and like the mouse accuracy required for that is just very high level, while also doing everything else and managing XP,
Right.
etc., and like your links and gear all at the same time. It would
Oh
just be
yeah,
like
dude.
there's just a lot of things you'd have to practice to catch up to other people while they're like hundreds and hundreds of runs deep into like practice.
Right. No, I do agree with you. Just bringing up the links and just having to manage that, man. Oh my gosh, the jewelers, orbs, and gems, so much simpler. I can't
Yeah,
fathom it.
it's really easy to lose a lot of time just like doing a gem swap on your items.
Oh
Like it's really easy to lose just like 5 seconds every time you do a swap if you're not like on the ball with it.
yeah, like moving while doing the swap of your items,
Yeah,
all that stuff.
and you're doing that with the mouse.
Yeah, you're doing it with the mouse. And I remember there was the brief rightful uproar of like adding pause into the game when you open your passive tree, and everybody's like, hey,
Uh,
that's gonna shave down some time on my act runs. You gotta get rid of that
yeah,
stuff. And they did. They added an option to get rid of the pause on passive
I'm
opening.
glad they added that in
Yeah.
Path of Exile 2 as well. I've always played with disabled. Now that it's an option for speedrunning.
Yeah. Might have to do that. It saved me a few times. So with Path of Exile 2, the speed running scene right now, it's acts 1 through 4. Okay. Do you think that's going to be the ExileCon race?
I So the ExileCon format for Path of Exile 1 is Act 5 any percent,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a restoration around like 60 to 70 minutes, depending on like where the meta is, depending on like the speedrun meta, and like how well people play. Like, but for the most part, it's been around like 60 to 70 minutes. Like, people have been in like sub 60 shape before, but like just not gotten the run in. Like I'm XL and Ty, I think. But in general, I was a little surprised, to be honest, that it went from an Act 3 to Act 4% race. Because I thought it was just going to stay at like a more shorter race because of Path of Exile 1. But I, like maybe when Act 5 comes out, they'll put in make it an Act 5% race. So that would change the race quite a bit. But
Yeah.
it's possible they might like just have it be to the end of acts each time.
Do you think the
I could definitely see it being Act 4.
you can see it staying with Act 4? I was going to ask if you thought the Doriani was kind of a tighter just race set for PoE2.
I mean, like, I definitely see why they wanted to put in Act 4, because there's a lot of like cool bosses and like zones in that act for sure. But we do basically it's just a boss rush act. Whatever act's gonna be the last act is always gonna be a boss rush act.
Yeah. And what are you practicing for this particular race that you're trying to qualify for the upcoming events?
I've been branching out a little bit. I did a bunch of Druid Act 1s with like spellcasting, like EDC, like maybe like trying out like stuff like the Voltaic Staff, Auto Attack, Volcano, Chaos Bolting, and then also doing like Bone Storm at level 14 onward for single target. And then like I've been doing a bunch of mercenary runs lately, practicing. So like Act 1s, I've gotten like a 112 Act 3 enter ish so far. And then I've been also like playing Warrior, of course, because I enjoy Warrior the most.
Are you keeping it kind of secret which one you're going to finally land on when it comes to race day and you load into the event? Or are you pretty set?
I mean, for
Warrior?
qualifiers, I'm just gonna play whatever is probably strongest at the time. Whatever I like lean on as being strongest for that format. It depends a bit on whether it's the qualifiers are like a hardcore environment or whether they're like a rigor mortis environment.
Okay.
Because like the difference between like allowing one death and no deaths is like a huge impact on like the build I would pick.
Do you think that's a possibility? Have they done that before for ExileCon?
They've done
hardcore?
For Path of Exile 1, they have.
Oh.
I like there was like the first ExileCon, there was like a level 85 race, there was an Adziri race, there was like a bunch of like weird formatted races going into it. They did get the best 4 players out of those, but like lately, like the last ExileCon, they did like Act 5 qualifiers.
Okay.
Like the same format as like the race was going to be at ExileCon.
Yeah. That seems more fair compared to, I don't know, a race to Arbiter. Ooh, that'd be fun.
I hope not. I did a bunch of runs to Arbiter, and there's a lot of variance there.
There is indeed a lot of variance. Oh my. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about racing, ExileCon. I want to pick your brain about what goes on in your head when you first go into a race and what maybe normal players like myself could kind of take for our own gameplay experiences. So when you first load into a fresh run, what's the first thing that's racing through your head? No pun intended. Oops.
So like the almost always the first thing I do is I like the wisdom scrolls are in the bottom right corner of the inventory. I move those right on over the top left.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're in the bottom left, but they gotta go.
100%.
But let's see. I double check my filter. I make sure I have my regexes ready for the like vendor search. And I always like before I even start a timer, I always do like a copy paste, enter into the chat, and then make sure my regex is right for Act 1. There's some like options I like to have. I make sure I have my like pause disabled because you can sprint while like crafting gems in Path of Exile 2 if you have it disabled. So like that's kind of like it saves you a lot of time doing that, like every time you craft. And then I move around like because I play with WASD and Path of Exile 2, I'm able to, if you temporarily put your settings onto mouse only, I make my left click mouse only and then I get rid of it back to WASD for my movement. And then I have my interact button free. Like none of the skills that I pick up from like items will like fill in that bar, so I won't have to like remove them. So I'm never like worried about like
Oh,
doing like a wolf auto attack or like a bear auto attack or raising shields because I picked those items up on warrior.
I get that. I get that. That's smart. Now the Reg X's, people have scolded me for never using Reg X. I understand their usefulness. What are the ones that you use commonly? Is it like movement speed, biz damage, stuff like that, basic stuff, or anything special that people wouldn't think of?
I mean, like a lot of the time, it's like I'm looking for early on in like Act One. I'm looking for particular items. I'm looking for movement speed. On like warrior specifically, I'm looking for a plus to melee level. Because like later on in the run, I need a plus to melee level weapon, and like I've had runs where if I don't get it in Act One, I didn't get it at all. And then I'm looking for like flat damage on gloves and like increase amount recovered on flasks because upgraded flasks are really OP.
Mm-hmm.
Like an upgraded like medium is almost as good as a greater life flask, for example, and it's just like it makes your flask almost like a tier better.
Yeah. Yeah. How much of this is, we touched on a little bit earlier, but how much is it raw, just skill and mechanics versus routing and planning in PoE2 specifically, do you think?
I think it's like I would lean it being like 70-80% planning for
Okay.
like the most part, because of like the lack of movement options you have in Path of Exile 2. If you go off route for by a minute, that is just like if someone's always going the right way in layouts and you're not going the right way in layouts, if you make like 30 seconds there in each zone, you'll never catch up to that person. Just even if you have more damage than them because they just walked the right way compared to you.
And is it,
It's really hard to make up that time.
and is the planning, it's kind of like map navigation, you'd say, is the bulk of the planning, just understanding the layouts of maps, or
I would say that's the
big part?
bulk of like the skill expression and like Path of Exile racing in general. It's like that's really important in Path of Exile 1 as well. But obviously like knowing the boss mechanics is important, like having your build be like the best damaging build or like the best AoE clear build that it can be for like the speedrunning is also really important because like you need to hit your level, the sooner you can hit your level threshold and just start rushing down bosses in like Path of Exile 2, the more important, because most of the like races are player hits the level they want and then they never kill a monster again if they can help it.
Yes. It's what Jonathan feared, Angormus. It's what he feared, that everybody would just be running past the monster. It's so true, though. You can do that in the campaign. You can just sprint
Yep.
past the bulk of the monsters if you really want to. Because you do hit those power thresholds, even, obviously when you're not speed racing. Sometimes you just feel so powerful, you can just skip pretty much everything, go straight boss, move to next
Yep.
area. I do that. So,
Yeah.
now,
Like the Act 4 races, you hit level 31 on Warrior, that's it. You just go.
over. All the way
Yep.
to Tavakai. Okay, on the map learning and planning, do you have some least favorite layouts? Has it changed? Like top 3 worst layouts in your opinion, or least favorite? I guess not worst.
I mean, my least favorite layout isn't a necessary layout for the speedrun,
Okay,
so I get to skip it. It's Venom Crypts. That
okay. Am I lucky with Venom Crypts? I've been so lucky because I guess my seed is always just like, oh, there's the entrance. I like turn left and then it's there. I just haven't ran it enough.
so like I've learned 2 different tells in
Okay.
that zone, and I just whenever I am doing like a league start, I fish for those 2 tells.
Okay.
Like I'll just keep making new instances. I won't actually run the zone legitimately.
What the?
I won't do it. Like I'll just keep making new zones until I find one of the 2 tells that I know, and then I'll just solve for that.
What is it
Then I'll move
about
on.
Venom Crypts? It's kind of like the Den of Evil in Diablo 2, though. It's like really tight and condensed. Like
It's tight and it's a maze and it's a really big maze. So like when you go wrong, it's really far off.
okay.
But then
Okay.
it's like Fakapanu is like
Oh,
I just like any of the maps that are like very large, but also like 1 unit wide type corridors for like
right.
when playing through because it makes it really hard to sprint through. So it's a bit slower.
Yeah. Yeah, I I agree with you on that map because of the tight corridors. I love that there's so many different points of interest on that particular map. That's really cool, but I just feel like the size is too great. Like if they tighten it up a little bit, or like you said, maybe widen the passageways to all the different points of interest, I think that'd be a darn cool map. But Fakapanu, I get the frustration.
In like speedrunning, it's not even that big a deal because it's one of the solved layouts. Like we know all the layouts for it. It's just like it's still like a little frustrating to run sometimes just because of the tight corridors.
Okay.
Or like in like a casual playthrough. Like I play Shield Wall right now. Shield Wall gets eaten by terrain, so like it's really hard to like even fight anything in those corridors.
Tough one. Very tough one. Now, how about the Motlin Waterways? I know this is the community's favorite one to hate. Are you a fan of the...
That's my favorite layout in the game.
Very linear, you know?
Yes. Yeah, it's linear layout, you know, there's only 3 of them. You just hop right on through.
Yep. Hit those levers.
I've always said it's the best layout in the game. I'm hoping at some point we get a really long, like an endless waterways event.
Oh.
Where you just try to pull as many levers as you can.
Oh, that's good. That's a good race. That could be one of the qualifiers, Angormus. Person who can pull the most levers in 1.5 hours. Go. There you go. I thought you were going to be diabolical and ask for a map in it at the end game. Then people would love you. I'm really surprised that
that'd be great.
Has not done that. Like mandatory levers in the atlas. Maybe it's there. We just haven't found it yet. Or they're waiting to drop it in when they add a boss to that map.
Oh, goodness.
Because that's one of the maps that it feels like there should be a boss where all the apes are in cages and there's the cannibals with the dogs on the leash. That's a boss should be right there. Okay. Once it's added, it's going to be in the atlas.
Yeah.
Feel it. Absolutely feel it. Okay. So in racing, we've talked a little bit about PoE1 and PoE2. Which one's more forgiving? I think I know your answer. You think PoE1 is more punishing if you make a mistake?
I mean, I would say only Path of Exile 2, but just because the competition's a bit less deep than Path of Exile. Like when you make a mistake in Path of Exile 1, the competition is so fierce that it's really hard to like catch up back to those guys. But like in like when you're just racing against yourself, like it's a lot more forgiving because there you have more tools to like help yourself out, I would say.
Okay. Now, what's the most common mistake you see first racers making? What do you think? Like maybe you make, other racers make. What's the common mistake in PoE2?
So the not managing your XP can be really bad because if you fall behind the curve on XP, you're down on XP for the entire run, no matter what.
Could you explain that for some people like myself to understand? I do know what you're talking about, but for people who might not, what do you mean by the XP curve?
So there's an XP penalty in Path of Exile 2. It's very similar to one in Path of Exile 1 when you're underleveled. For the most part, if you stay within 3 levels of your character level to the zone, so long there's only a 3-level gap, like a level 15 and a level 18 zone receives 100% XP. But when you start going 4 levels below and you're a level 15 character, you start receiving like 90% of the XP, I believe it is, and then you are heavily penalized even more so for being further behind that curve. It's the way it works is you can be 3 levels below, and you get to be an extra level below the zone for every 16 levels your character is. So like a level 16 character can be in a level 20 zone and still receive full experience. The problem is when you're over leveled in Path of Exile 2, if you're even 1 level above a zone level, you start hitting an XP penalty.
Yep.
Compared to like being at level or like under. And then I see a lot of people like wasting currency at like the wrong level of gear.
Okay.
Like there are certain bases that are better than other bases for like most builds. Like a lot of the level 16 weapons, for example, are much better than the level 20 or 22 weapons for like the same base. Like the two-handed maces, the cultist hammer, because of the unique passive it has as an implicit,
Hmm.
It's just it doesn't have that much more damage on the item, so it's just better to like get a good studded great club and move on and jump like skip that next base tier,
That's
or
a great
like
tip.
investing currency before you've hit like the right item level threshold for affixes. So like for flat damage, for example, like in the speedrunning sense, it's like you get flat damage at tier, I think it's like tier level 1, level 8, and level 16 are like the first 3 tiers of like flat damage. And it's really important, like the level 8 affix is way better than the level 1 affix. So it's like if you have like a good enough weapon, if you waste a bunch of currency on like low level weapons, you know, you won't have enough for like the next tier to
Right.
like try to gamble for that.
Those are
And then
excellent
just
tips for everyone,
and
honestly.
then just town is lava, you know, like the more time you spend in town, it mostly has to do with like not really knowing what you're doing next to certain degrees, or like not being like prepared for like your next skill gem or support gem.
That the item crafting tip is big, and people not understand. Like, I think a lot of normal players, they just see, okay, item higher level, item, in later game, gonna be better, let's craft on it or let's equip it. And they don't even necessarily check like the damage. They kind of just think in their head it's better because it's higher level, but it can trap you. I've had multiple runs now across my, I think, like 9 times to end game so far. Well, I'll find an item in Act 2, maybe late Act 1, and I will keep that almost until I hit end game. Like, you'll slam it properly, you'll get lucky because it's the proper base, the proper
Yep.
level, and it will carry you all the way through the game. But managing that's huge. If you just know which base types are the right base types and when to start using like your essences and your regals and all that stuff.
Yep.
Oh, it's big. It's big. Because the weapon, most important part of your character, by far, from what I've experienced and many other people have
Yep.
experienced.
Yeah, having a big weapon helps a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Okay, so we're just talking about this a little bit about crafting and RNG. What happens if you just have FL for drops? Would you be able to do it just by like NPC items or shop items and everything? What happens when you feel RNG not swinging in your favor during a race? Does that mentally affect you? Are you good to push through?
I mean, it's not great. It's like in the third race season, you know, I had some like especially the last race, like there's supposed to be a guaranteed 4 link, a lesser jeweler's orb from buried shrines, and mine got eaten by an abyssal depths during the race, so I didn't get the reward. And then like, you know, like that hurts a lot, you know, just being down like 25-ish% more damage
Yeah.
for until you hit like the next guaranteed lesser jeweler orb in the beginning of Act 3. Um, you can like do things to mitigate RNG for sure. Like in Act 1, you know, like the best versus worst case should only be about like 1 to 2 minutes, and mostly because of the single target damage. But like you just have to like do your best to know like how you can work around like the worst cases of RNG. Like the worst case warrior, you know, you don't have enough. You're stuck with 2 wooden clubs until like after Rust King is like the worst case. And that's not great, but like, you know, I have ways to mitigate it in the worst of cases, but it's a little bit hard because then I can't do my like rolling slam combo, for example.
Mm,
It's just not enough damage to prime monsters in Red Veil. So I have to
mm-hmm.
like I have to like auto attack them or like just work around it.
Okay. Okay, so kind of closing out the racing section here. You recently did games done quick for Path of Exile
It's-
2, dude. How was that whole experience? If you just want to walk us through it.
I mean, it was just a lot of fun. There, you know, there's all sorts of different speedrunners there for like every sort of game. People just love playing games there. You know, it was for a great cause for like the Prevent Cancer Foundation. It
Yeah.
was pretty cool to be there. You know, it was really cool just to be in Pittsburgh in general. You know, the National Aviary is in Pittsburgh, and I got to
Oh,
go
sick.
there. Me and my girlfriend went there, and we met a falcon in person, which was pretty cool.
Oh, that's sweet. Did you
Yeah,
get to like wear the
yeah,
glove
yeah.
and
yeah.
everything? Oh,
We wore the glove, and you know, we got to take some pictures with the falcon. That was pretty great.
oh, that's sick. That's very cool. The we have a Renaissance festival that comes to our state, and there is a Birds of Prey performance
Uh,
essentially. And they do falcons. They had an owl this year, and they had a kookaburra. Dude,
ooh, wow.
crazy. Right, like right up next to you. The owl was the wildest one because the owl, they're not like attached by chain or rope or anything. They're kind of just free. The owl flew up into one of the nearby trees for 15 minutes and would not come down.
Uh,
It was wild. So yeah,
yeah.
that's really really cool. Okay,
Yeah,
how are the
there's some
nerves?
crazy birds there.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
I mean,
how are the
I, I
nerves?
I was pretty nervous like right before we got on stage. You know, just
Yeah,
I'd never done any sort of event for that for like such a large audience. You know, it's just the first time Path of Exile was like shown off on like a mainline event for GDQ. The Path of Exile 1 like speedrunners had done like a hotfix event before, but like the Awesome Games Done Quick, the Summer Games Done Quick are like the mainline events for GDQ.
yeah.
Those were just it was a very large event. It was really cool to go.
Okay, so it's prepping you for ExileCon. You're good. You're gonna have experience. There's a
I,
whole new
I,
wave of racers, dude. Because I don't know if there's gonna
yeah,
be like I'm Exile and maybe Ty comes out of retirement or something, but it might be like a whole new group of people, and you're gonna have experience being on stage.
yeah. I've heard so far that IMXL, if he can, he plans to do PoE1 and PoE2
Oh
so
my
far.
god,
You know, maybe we'll get Alex to do that too, but who knows?
very nice.
Maybe Jose will reveal himself.
Yeah, have you seen any other like people practicing as consistently as you leading up, or like maybe doing so in private a little bit more,
I-
keeping it
I've seen
close
a
to the
lot of the
chest?
people who would stream, some people who would stream publicly no longer stream, and they're still
Oh,
online doing runs because they're
oh,
they're like a little scared and hiding stuff. There's some players who aren't though, like Whole New Society, who I believe he won 2 races in season 3 as mercenary.
yeah.
He's just like he's been great to talk to. You know, I gotten some great mercenary advice from him, and he's still doing runs on stream
He's
the
pretty
same way he
cool.
used to before.
He
Yeah,
came he came into the second wind league and he dominated some of the challenges. It was wild to see how
yeah,
fast. I think he did a Jamanra almost gearless in like an
mm,
hour 10 or so. It was just wild. It was my dad's
yeah. That
challenge.
makes
So
sense.
yeah, he absolutely killed it. On that, is the racing community kind of tight knit? Do you guys kind of chat with each other usually? And now that the ExileCon is on the line, everybody's kind of, oh, we're gonna get secretive with what we're doing, or
Usually people are pretty public about what they're doing, or like like sharing layout discoveries, like in the past.
like
Like
campaign
I'm
codex.
doing
That
a
one.
yeah, the campaign codex, like that sort of thing, like talking more publicly. I mean, people are still hanging out and talking there, but I've noticed, uh, I've heard that people have solved some zones and not shared stuff now. But we'll see how that goes. I'm still doing all my stuff publicly on stream or whatever. I don't really
Very
care.
ethical.
Yeah, I
Very.
mean, I've done that. I've done that from the start. If I had hidden stuff for like the O.1 and O.2 race cycles, who knows what would have happened then.
Yeah, that would have been
I was
wild.
like, like
It was already what 40 some minutes in the very first race. That would have been a wider gap if you just stayed private. Oh gosh.
I heard some people think back then that Warrior was a very slow class anyway. So
Oh yes,
it's-
warrior slow, warrior weak, warrior can't do campaign quickly. He blasted out of the water. That whole rumor. What's the fastest class right now? Is it Is it mercenary? Not warrior. It's merc, right?
I
That the
believe it's the fastest times I know about are on Mercenary with grenades.
Yeah.
I do know there's some like talk about like maybe like Druid, but I haven't seen spellcast. I've never been impressed by spellcasters so far, just because of how squishy they get. And then
Okay.
like Shield Wall's pretty consistent at like right now I'm getting like 218s for eight Act 4 on Warrior.
That's absurd. I'm sorry. That's just absurd, dude. I can't believe that. Ugh.
But like the best times I've heard of
Mhm.
are like 208 on Mercenaries, but they're like very risky and consistent, super low level runs that require like a lot of luck to get going. Just because
Yeah.
like you need to have like a certain level of weapon, otherwise you need to hit 31 on a
Right.
mercenary no matter what. It's like a level 28 run on top of Kai
Wow.
that I've
That's
heard
pretty
about.
close though. That's within 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes of each other. That's pretty even balance. Is there a clear class that is at the bottom? Not that honestly for these ExileCon races, everybody's probably going to be playing the best classes
Yeah.
because they want to get first place, but for people who are doing it just for like, oh, I'm not going to win first place, but I want to win top of this class.
Yeah.
What's the worst class?
Monk looks pretty awful to play. You can't really
Oh.
do spellcaster too well, and you're like on the right side of the tree, and you can't really do grenades either because you don't get access to the grenade nodes that like ranger and huntress can get away doing grenades, like and being like a much weaker mercenary. Because they do get access to the grenades later, like the grenade nodes eventually, and they'll have it in their tree. Monk doesn't have access to that. Monk doesn't really have good access to increased damage for like doing warrior leveling stuff, which like allows you to get away with like white weapons by the time you get like to cemetery. So like warrior gets away with white weapons because there's so much increased damage. Like you can play like monk as like a warrior, but it's just a much worse warrior for like shield walling because you don't get war cry nodes either.
Oh.
You just get a lot of like increased skill speed and attack speed and like some damage, and it's just like no armor nodes or stun threshold. It's a little
Or monk.
rough.
Or monk. I remember seeing some of I can't remember the name of the guy who was doing the monk runs. Name is escaping me. 01. But
Sarge 2 probably.
yes, Sarge. Yep, Sarge.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sarge 2. I think he's won 7 of the monk
Yep.
demigods if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
he's
know,
killing it.
but
I remember
monk's
the
a little
elk
brutal.
LFG every single time he died. Ooh, let's go. Over and over.
Yeah.
Why is what's the move? One last racing question because it popped into my head. Why are people using pounce as a skill, a movement
Yes.
skill, a lot? I haven't
Yeah.
been watching any
So
races. Are you incorporating it into your race?
yeah, so
Right?
you get to use pounce the second you have a spare level 3 jump. So
Okay.
you have enough strength you need like 9 strength, 9 int to use it. So I'm like warrior, if you do 1 int node on your tree, you have enough to do it and you do it in your offhand for the whole run. You could like
Okay.
use pounce almost on cooldown when you're not fighting packs. And then there's a couple like any terrain that is leapable is also pounceable for the most part. So like there's the blockage in Ogum farmlands that is typically in front of the loot, but you basically anytime there's the blockage, you need to hop over it even if it's after the loot. So there's like a consistent setup for like leaping over that. And then like in Vesteria outskirts, instead of like running it saves you like maybe 5 seconds. But there's like a run around to get up to the boss of the cliff. You can
Yeah.
just pounce right up the cliffs to the boss by targeting the monsters up there.
It
And there's like things like that.
I
It's a
feel
mini leap slam.
yeah, it's a mini leap slam, you get it a lot earlier, right? So
Yeah,
it feels like you added some, or they added some skill expression to the game. Because I know in PoE1 with like Flame Dash, Frostblink, whatever,
yeah.
there's all those crazy spots that I can never
True.
find. Every time I do the campaign, I'm like, all right, this time in what is it, Calm Stronghold, I'm gonna find that
Oh yeah,
spot where I
that
could
one's
just,
crazy.
I just can't. Like I've seen the
People do that
footage.
one with leap slam.
I that's why. See, I'll never be able to do it. That's why
Yeah.
I'm in such awe watching you guys do this because my memory is just so shot. And you guys have all of PoE2 memorized, like the layouts, the breakpoints for items. It's crazy. Your brains are cooking in a good way.
Pounce is also really interesting because it counts as a minion, shapeshift, werewolf, AoE, melee, slam, trigger, mark, duration, travel, and meta gem. So there's like a lot of really interesting things you can do with it later
Yeah,
on in the run. But like it's got so many tags on it that it has it's very versatile for like different things throughout the run, on top of being like the only movement skill you get early on
right.
consistently.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's going to be exciting to see. Do you have any inkling on when that first race is going to be? It should be soon, right? Like they'll be announcing it, I imagine, maybe
I
before the next PoE1 league.
believe the community manager Bellique has like mentioned like it's somewhat public knowledge now. It like the race cycle I've heard for 0.4 is going to be announced on the 19th of February, I keep hearing.
Okay.
So, like
Oh.
around then is when we can, like right before like a week before the Path of Exile 1 live stream for 3.28, I've heard is like
Okay.
when we're going to find out more information about it.
All right. That's going to be hype. I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in for that one. So, yeah, I wish
It'll
you
be a lot of
luck in
fun.
the races, dude. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be good. I think you'll make it. I think you'll make it onto the main stage of
Hopefully.
ExileCon. If you don't, are you still going to go? Did you buy a just in case ticket?
No, so I did get like I did get the like nod, hey, we'll give you a standard invite ticket, but without accommodations for me, it's like going to be pretty much impossible to go. So I am hoping to win on through qualifying for the ExileCon races.
All right. I believe in you. I believe in you.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people will be rooting for you. A lot of people became a fan in those initial races where you just freaking dominated. It was wild to watch.
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, moving away for the race just for a little bit. Thoughts on the state of Path of Exile 2 as it stands right now? Obviously, the game has changed a bunch since 0.1. We're now in 0.4. What are your general overview of the game? I know you said you're a PoE1 fan. You've been playing since 2013. So you got to have an opinion on how Path of Exile 2 is doing.
I'm hoping it's really hard to evaluate for me because there's like I don't consider us to have an end game yet. I don't think there's like a very interesting boss fights in the end game compared to like Path of Exile. Like Path of Exile 1 boss fights are really cool, like Exarch, Eater.
Maven?
There's like mechanics you're doing, Maven.
Best.
A lot of the time it feels like the bosses in Path of Exile 2 and the end game you're doing like one thing at a time, and that's kind of it. And there's not like overlapping levels of difficulty, even like in the higher tiers of difficulty of the bosses. They're just like they do more damage and they have more HP, but like Uber Arbiter, I refuse to call him Uber Arbiter because like he's just T4 Arbiter.
Right.
I was hoping he was like gonna have extra mechanics. Maybe like maybe like Exarch, he summons like a Minotaur or something like that fights you, or like a monkey that fights you while you're dodging the balls, but it doesn't seem like that.
Corridors Titan or something, or there's the beam during the corridor, like something. I also expected advanced mechanics, but now that the way that you've laid that out, I've never thought about it in those terms. I've always just said PoE1 pinnacles are way better. But the reason why is because you're juggling so many different things. I can think of it in every single fight. Like with the Maven, I mean, if you look at her last phase, you have the rotating beams. You have her constantly like throwing fireballs, doing all these different attacks.
Yep.
You have and even in the earlier phases, you have her hitting you, the puddles, the nucleus beaming
you. Gotta manage your balls.
Yeah, dude. There's even with Shaper. You have constantly the balls, the clone in the last phase, the hammer, the beam. Wow, crap, Angormus, you have just exposed the pinnacles for PoE2 because I'm going through. Dashed, only one thing at a time. Sometimes I guess there's hands and like another, that's not really anything. But like Arbiter, it is literally one thing at a time. Always. It's one big ability, just one at a time. It's always, it's the ball, it's the dodge in. It is. That's really
like the hardest thing for like Arbiter. Sometimes you do too much damage, but not enough. You're not like quickly enough. So he's like phasing while the ball phase is going off. Like that's like the only time he's doing multiple things at once for the most part.
Right.
But like I really like the last like in 3.27, I played like 5 or 6 days of Path of Exile 1. I hit 100 for the first time in like softcore SSF.
Oh wow.
And I did like an Uber like attempt for the first time, and I had time to do like 4 of them, and that was a lot of fun. Like preparing for those bosses, it felt like way more interesting than like grinding. Like the progression was much more linear for my character.
Right.
For like getting prepared for like that versus like there's our like having the Atlas tree in Path of Exile 1 versus like what we have in Path of Exile 2. There's just so many more choices for like specifically grinding like one mechanic, and like part of that is just that there's so many more mechanics in Path of Exile 1, but like the customization, like I was doing like a setup where I was like only farming silos. I was just spamming silos because I had set up my atlas. I was doing the silo farm, so I was just I was Maven witnessing every silo, and just because the boss has multiple phases, I couldn't accidentally kill the boss. So I was just getting like 4 additional extra bosses and then portaling out before I killed the actual map boss. And I was just grinding silos,
Dude, that's a clever strat.
which is a lot
Oh
of
my
fun.
gosh, I didn't know about that one. 'Cause
Yeah,
I was
I
gonna call
learned
you
about that
out
one
and
from
be like, "Were you
from
not killing
PoE1
the
guys.
boss because it has the freaking phases? That sounds super slow." But you were doing something ingenious. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that's so
silo
good.
is one of those maps that's chosen specifically for that because you do like you have to find the seer and dunes because you need thousands of alterations in SSF. So you farm dunes until you get the seer, and then you transcribe the divination cards that drop in dunes to the map you want to farm because he has really good. Dunes has the really I believe it's a part of a divine orb and then alteration shards or
Okay.
alteration orbs
Okay.
for the div cards. And then I put those onto silos, and then I did the silo like Maven Tech,
Dude, I
like
didn't know
Witness.
you were like a huge PoE1 player. I literally didn't know because I only see
Yeah.
all your PoE2 races. Dude,
Oh,
you're
I have
yeah.
like like over 8,000 hours in Path of Exile 1 easily. Just like
Holy.
most of it was like 2013 to 2015 because then I got addicted to League.
Oh, okay. You know what? We got to
Yeah.
talk about this really quickly. Okay. You're a league person. I've never played League. I was a Dota guy. Have you
Mm.
played Dota at all or only League?
Uh, no. So like the people I was playing Path of Exile 1 with at the
Yeah.
time played well, like one of them was like an ex Dota pro, like Dota 2.
Okay.
But most of them played League, and I played League with them, and then I got addicted to NASA Stop.
Why is League fun? Can you explain to me? Why did you
It's
like
not
it?
fun.
Oh, fuck.
League's not fun. It's just addicting.
Do you still go back to it?
Uh, I mean, I think I got out of it because ExileCon got announced, but like
This
we
was
we
2 weeks ago.
were so we were going to like a bunch of like I was gonna play with a bunch of PoE1 guys for the most part. Like I was gonna play with like Tai Killer, Sarge, and Alex, and like Idawa, but I got out of it because of ExileCon. So now I don't have to play.
Ah,
I
okay.
hit level 30 in the US, and then ExileCon got announced, and then none of us have hit each other up to play the league
Oh, maybe
because
everybody's
we're
yeah,
yeah.
grinding. Oh yeah. Yeah. Cool. I also saw I hopped into your stream earlier today and I saw you looking at some was that Age of Empires 2 replays? Was it
Yes, I watch some like Age of Empire 2. I watch like I'm a big RTS fan, but
okay.
I don't have the hands for RTS games.
Okay.
Those games are too hard,
It's just too much. Too
so I
much
stay
clicking.
away.
Oh, so
There's too much to keep track of for me. Like
I
I've always
I
been
feel
like
you.
much better at like one character than like
Right.
trying to micro and do macro economy at the same time and like upgrading and building.
Which is your favorite? Is it AoE 2?
Warcraft 3.
Oh, Warcraft 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I watched a bunch of like the Warcraft 3 like programs. I was like when Happy was on like a almost a year long like set winning streak. He like other pro players in the Warcraft 3 scene were like getting rated on like by how many games they took off Happy total instead of like instead of like beating him like
Right.
he didn't drop a set for like over almost a year at one point.
That's
And that like
crazy.
and I was watching almost every game back then.
Oh,
Like because the Warcraft pro scene they all play against each other all the time.
is that still ongoing or
Yeah.
no? It is?
Yeah, there's like a very small like esports community around it
Oh, that's
where
cool.
like a bunch of like the pro players just like or like the top tier players still like play, like Grubby still plays and I
I've
watch a
heard of
lot of
Grubby.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I recently discovered the RTS that I played in my childhood and I've refound now is Age of
Yeah.
Mythology, and I just found out that that has a
Oh,
very
yes.
budding pro scene. Not budding, but like a bustling pro scene. I had no idea, and I watched. It
Yeah.
was. I've watched thousands of hours of Pro Dota 2. I felt like I was like back in that time because I'm playing
Yeah.
AOM right now. Retold, banger job by the way. That studio.
Oh, is it really?
Oh my god, dude, they killed it.
I was a big fan.
Oh, you should definitely try it. It's like $20
Okay.
or something. They just released another god for the Greeks last night. Probably gonna play some tonight, maybe. Demeter. Dude, they killed it with the update, and they're doing like little balance patches throughout. Oh,
very
yep.
nice. Yeah.
That was the game. That was the RTS of my childhood. I never got into like Warcraft 3 except in computer lab in like 8th grade. They had it on the
Okay.
computers for some reason,
Yeah.
so we would like play Warcraft 3 during computer lab.
That
but-
was my first game actually ever.
Oh, really? Warcraft 3?
Yeah, I was put onto Warcraft 3 by my mom before I could like even read. I was just like playing through the campaign.
Hey, dude, that's how you learn to
It
read?
was a
Like,
really
did you
fun game.
read like the dialogue with your mom while you're playing along, or
No.
was
Like
just play the
I had
game?
memorized what each of apparently I was told I had memorized what each of the buttons did. It, so I was like able to play the game that way.
Oh, that's so cool. That's nice.
But, like
Okay.
I spent a ton of time in like the custom games there.
Yep.
Like the Warcraft 3 custom maps. Those were a lot of fun for me in my
Okay.
childhood.
Yep. Okay. I played Baldur's Gate. That's how I learned to read. I like sat on my dad's lap and I would read through the dialogue with Baldur's Gate 1. So I feel you. I was introduced to games at a very, very early age. So isn't it wild we can still play those games that we played like 20 plus years ago?
Oh, it's crazy. Like
and they're
and
good.
and some of them still hold up. Like
do.
Warcraft 3 holds up for me. You know, Shadow of the Colossus was one of my favorite games as a kid. Stuff like that. I mean, like I was at the right age for like Minecraft to be like big when I was like 11 or so.
Okay.
So that was also like a pretty big game for me when I was growing up.
My brother was a redstone master. He like built computers in Minecraft. I was just dumb. I just built little houses. I couldn't figure it out. Far too complex for me. Okay, man. Besides, so I know you're playing a ton of ExileCon or practicing for ExileCon right now. Doing anything else? Anything fun, exciting? Any other games you're playing?
There's no time for other grind. There's just the grind. Right
just
now.
the grind.
I'm just grinding.
All right, my man. I always ask this final question to everybody I have on my pod for the first time. If your hair went gray, you suddenly owned grinding your games alongside Tencent, and you could add anything you wanted to Path of Exile 2, what would you add to the game in this moment?
A crafting bench. I'd be torn between crafting bench and vendor recipes, because both of those are like really big for like leveling, and there's like a crafting, movement speed crafting bench, damage, resistance, just like shore up whatever you need on like white gear even.
Right.
Damage was really, really nice to have, like consistent like level power, and then vendor recipes because
it's
getting
cool.
a resist ring. Yeah, it's
cool. It's like
there's like I remember
knowledge.
when like GCP man was a thing, and people weren't like really aware that like quality gems could, if you vendor them up to like 40%, that you'd get the GCP back in the day.
That's wild.
Like that was like something that had like a lot of vendor recipes were like not initially like discovered. They were just like put into the game, and players like found out about them slowly over time, which was really cool. But there's none of that in Path of Exile.
No, I'm a huge fan of tutorializing the game and introducing systems clearly to the player. That's one of the things that I would love to be in the game, but it doesn't need to be outlined. Like just, you can sell certain combos of items to vendors and you get something back in return. That's cool. I think that, I think that's something
like getting resist rings,
Yeah, resist
just
rings.
the iron ring, and then the gem color according to the resist ring you want is really cool to me. Or like, quicksilvers and boots with augments to get movement speed boots.
I can rustic belts with blacksmith's whetstone, for the fizz damage, like all that stuff, like very basic cool stuff. And you feel it, I don't know, you just feel smart when you do it too. It's like, haha, I know this cool little trick that the beginners would never know or find out, really, because you're never gonna accidentally sell that crap. It's like, so
no, you're not gonna sell the whetstone by itself.
No.
Most of the time.
Yeah, I would love to see both those in the game. With the crafting bench, do you think they've gone too far where they cannot remove socketables, and there's like socketables is supposed to be the replacement for the crafting bench? Like, can they exist in tandem, you think? They're supposed to do the same thing, but they really don't, because socketables are random. The whole thing with the crafting bench is it's deterministic power,
I don't like how random it is. Like there's a lot of like, so like I do a lot of speedrunning, so I like run through the campaign a lot, and like up until like the end of the beginning of Act 3, outside of like not ascending and like maybe skipping Fraythorn, like it's pretty consistent with like a normal playthrough.
Yeah.
And I don't often have enough like artificial orbs, or like I have artificial orbs and then I don't have runes, or I have too many runes and like one or two artificial orbs that like outside of like the deterministic ones, it's like I'm always like not like consistently able to like use a lot of them, and then like it's really hard to go on socketables because like you upgrade your gear and then your socketables are gone. It
Right.
just feels a little bit bad to like use them very early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the big things that they could introduce to the game. It's like one of those big system additions, the crafting bench. So maybe they'll save it for 1.0. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Do you think?
Lucky.
Okay, here I guess one more question. Because I released a video where I kind of was like, I think at ExileCon they're gonna announce the date of 1.0, and it's in contention when they should release it. Now, I think it's gonna be in December of this year. Is that a smart idea? I don't necessarily think so. I feel like ensuring the game is in a really, really good state and people are happy and there's a lot of options like, axes and stuff, blah, 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 would probably be better for us. But I feel like they really want it out there in the wild. And I think they're going to use like the holiday time to and ExileCon to jump board it. So I guess I'm a little like, I don't know what the right word, not skeptic, but I'm being a little, I can't think of the right word. But what do you think? What do you think?
I mean, I for like the 1.0 release.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's very likely that I think it's very likely it gets announced at ExileCon.
Right, me too.
And whether it's the right decision or not, like whether they're ready or not, like it's probably coming in December. Like I understand that like the math behind like the business aspect of it is December is like the best season to like do a game release, and that's when they did Path of Exile 2, like the open beta in the first place, the early access. That's probably when they're gonna do it. Like whether they're so long they hit at least like the act threshold, like having all the campaign acts done, and hopefully we have an end game that's like acceptable by then.
Acts, end game, and one thing that I was remiss in not pointing out: performance fixes, because holy crap, the crashes are actually crazy for me at least. Dude, do you crash a lot when you play your speed runs?
It happens quite a bit.
It does.
So I'm hoping when we get closer to qualifiers that there's some like fixes for it. But
100%.
Yeah, I do see like I crash a couple times a play through like a play session or so.
The grinding gears and the long load times now.
Yeah, sometimes there's like extra long loading screens, or just like you can't really change your display like if you accidentally change your display settings while you're in the game and your client's crashing right now, you have to like do it from like the login screen.
Yes,
most of the time.
I had that happen. I reinstalled PoE1 to get ready for the update, and I had to change my display settings in game, and I thought my computer was breaking. It like in PoE1, it was just started freezing up and then flashing on my screen. I was like, "What is happening?" There's some funky graphic stuff. Okay, well, Angormus, thank you so much. I really appreciate you hopping on the pod to chat. We all wish you well in the race events coming up, leading up to ExileCon, and I hope I see you there, man.
Hopefully. I'd love to see you guys there.
All right, everybody, check out Angormus's Twitch stream, YouTube, everything in the description below. I'll see you later. Have a good one.